Without God, there is no virtue because there's no prompting of the conscience. Without God, we're mired in the material, that flat world that tells us only what the senses perceive. Without God, there is a coarsening of the society. And without God, democracy will not and cannot long endure. If we ever forget that we're one nation under God, then we will be a nation gone under.
Welcome to the Story of Liberty. On this day, Ronald Reagan was born, and he was the oldest person actually elected as U.S. president. He was almost 70 years old, and he had some very profound statements. He said that government that is big enough to give you everything you want is more likely to simply take everything you've got. It's interesting that in his 1964 speech, A Time for Choosing, the great Ronald Reagan stated, "I suggest to you there is no left or right, only an up or down. Up to the maximum of individual freedom, consistent with law and order, or down to the ant-heap of totalitarianism." Ronald Reagan went on further to state that we live in this world in a place where we do face the rise of fascism and communism, and that both of these philosophies glorify the arbitrary power of the state. But both theories fail, he said. Both deny those God-given liberties that are inalienable right of each person on this planet. Indeed, they deny the existence of God. He also said that evil is powerless if the good are unafraid. That's why the Marxist vision of man without God must eventually be seen as an empty and a false faith, the second oldest in the world. First proclaimed in the Garden of Eden with whispering words, "Ye shall be as gods." He went on to say in 1982 that our liberty springs from and depends upon an abiding faith in God. Ronald Reagan was a different kind of man. He was a liberty man. And he had several things to say about the sanctity of life. He also said that we can't have it both ways, that we can't expect God to protect us in a crisis if we just leave him over there on the shelf in our day-to-day living. He said, "I wonder if sometimes he isn't waiting for us to wake up. He isn't maybe running out of patience." Ronald Reagan, and I'll conclude with this, said in the Reunion Arena in Dallas in 1984, he said, "America needs God more than God needs America. If we ever forget that we are one nation under God, then we will be a nation gone under."
A number of years ago, I heard a young father, a very prominent young man in the entertainment world, addressing a tremendous gathering in California. It was during the time of the Cold War, and communism and our own way of life were very much on people's minds, and he was speaking to that subject. And suddenly, though, I heard him saying, "I love my little girls more than anything," and I said to myself, "Oh no, don't say that." But I had underestimated him. He went on, I would rather see my little girls die now, still believing in God, than have them grow up under communism and one day die no longer believing in God.